Everyone, hi. Bruce Muffson, SUNRIDGE of Nevada, coming at you with another live stream. Tonight it's going to be about trauma and also Q&A time as well. Just for those, again, getting to know me, understand who I am, I'm Bruce Muffson, LCSW. I have over 20, almost ready now, over a couple of 20 years, probably 23 years of experience in mental health. I work with thousands of people, literally from 3 to 83. Been in all kind of facets, from inpatient, outpatient, testifying in court, doing thousands of assessments, and very well versed, particularly in trauma, and working with people that have been exposed to things like physical, sexual, verbal abuse, as well as understanding cognitive issues such as bipolar, schizophrenia, and also dementia, and also the effects of drug and alcohol abuse on an individual as well, and what that leads to. We've been going forward, and one thing I want to share with you guys is how things are changing, even the insurance world. I saw an article this past week, and it goes like this. It says, telehealth can be life-saving, meaning so much of now what we're doing is now online, not just with mental health, but with everything in general, but particularly in mental health. Yet as virus rages, insurance companies look to scale back. In other words, they're not giving what they used to give. It used to be like, just don't need the copay, just get the sessions going, get people relaxed. Now, this has been very important because for a lot of people that are elderly, particularly, were afraid of catching it. This became a game changer. And telehealth, that was kind of a sleepy system till about 4 or 5 months ago, exploded in popularity. People that didn't want to go to an office, people that were elderly, people that had pre-existing conditions, like, I'm going to go online. Like everyone else in this whole world, we did Microsoft Teams, but there's probably at least 50 different platforms that you can use right now where you talk to each other. Well, insurance companies are now saying it's getting too expensive. And they're starting to cut back and saying, we'll only approve these many sessions, or the copay is now going to be this. And I'm finding out that copays are becoming as expensive as $50 a session. Wow. It's almost at the point like you're literally paying out of pocket to go to a therapist like you would seeing someone else. Here's the difference with us. We are going forward. The live streams have been designed to kind of give me a chance to talk to you guys on a different level. We're still going to do the music videos. That's not going to change. I know you guys really like them. But we want to go to a level that's really going to start helping our listeners. And for that, there's going to be monetization. We're going to be charging, but it's not going to be close to $50. Far, far, far less. But we're going to start doing things through this channel that's going to take us into a deeper level, into darker waters. Why am I saying this? Because we're realizing that you, the audience, is asking a lot of probing questions on things that are far just beyond, like, understanding what is depression, what is PTSD, what's bipolar. You guys are good with that. But there are things that we need to start addressing that's going to take us into a different realm and a different perspective that will only help you guys grow and really, really grow and have the lives you're meant to have. So we're very, very different from the insurance companies. We come to you direct. We come to you live. And that's the biggest difference. CS. All right, my man. Hope you're doing well. Here, let me just say this about everybody who's listening. This guy's, and before I hit CS, there was a listener that actually said to us, why weren't you guys on last week? I look forward to it. I'm going to write back to that person. Sorry, we didn't give like a preamble that we weren't going to be doing it. We did some music videos last week, but we will always let you know when we're doing a live stream. So apologize to that listener. But now to CS. CS is probably in our top 2 in terms of, most loyal fan and subscribers. He posed to me a question. He said, I want you to talk about yourself. And I want you to talk about how you came to your realization about things and kind of your journey. And you know what, CS? We're at the point now, we're going to do what you asked. And we are going to take it to that level because next week, next live stream, next Thursday is going to be based on that. Talking about my childhood, talking about many of my failures, a few of my successes, and how I got to the point where at 57, I'm able to dispense advice that actually seems helpful and useful, not just talky talk or just, making no sense. So CS posed a series of questions. CS, I might ask you for a favor to send them to me again. I want to make sure I have them, but that's going to be next Thursday at 5:30. So everyone, please tune in. this is really an open forum to really understand me. I can understand you guys better, and I could talk further about what direction we want to start going in over the next several weeks. But yes, 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 the music videos are always going to be there. So yes, thank you, CS, as always. First at bat, boom, off the wall. Thank you for asking. I'm doing well, masking up, taking precautions, and doing what I can to be safe with my family as well, and just trying to keep my stress level from getting too high and staying chill. Okay, here we go. I want to finish up with part 3 of the trauma, and I want to finish up the main body of the article, and I want to go 2 other ones, and then again, it's Q&A time, so fire away with any questions. You guys already know you can ask anything, so it's not a big deal. What I want to say is this, and I'm going to stress this over and over and over again because I'm learning this as I'm getting older. Take care of your health. Take care of yourself. One thing I've learned from my agent/producer is the importance of a balance. I'm bad. I'm not a good role model in that regard. I'm a type A. I'm always pushing, which I'll explore next week why I am the way I am. But it's not healthy. And what you can get away with at 27, you can't get away with at 57. That's just reality. Your body starts to get older. It's amazing to me how many people's lives I've met that have been ruined. They didn't have a balance between work and stress, and the stress ultimately got to them. Heart attacks, strokes. Particularly it's interesting. When I deal with someone who might be African American or Latino, it's amazing. They'll tell me how they were told as kids, don't go see anybody. Don't go talk to anybody. Keep it internal. Keep it within. You can't trust these people. They don't understand our lifestyle. And guess what that led to? Heart attacks, strokes, depression, but high blood, a lot of medical stuff. Forget about the depression, but just the strokes, the heart attacks, the cancers, because people kept stuff internal. That was not good advice. Now, there are various reasons not to go. The people that weren't able to understand where you were coming from, I get it. But I've had plenty of people in my career. I've probably dealt with more minorities, so to speak, than I've even dealt with white people. I never had a problem relaying to people, understanding where they're coming from. And what they share with me is what it's like to hold things in. And that was a terrible, terrible thing that people were told, don't share. And people will share with me really personal things because they need to get it off their chest. So they don't die at 53 or have a massive stroke or have terrible diabetes. Guess what? We're now realizing it's all related to stress. Stress will kill you faster than anything else out there. And by the way, your stress level will affect your medical level. So if your stress level is under control, then medically you're going to be better shape as well. So think about it from that angle. All right. So that's a big one. We talk about sleep over and over again ad nauseum. I'm not going to go over that, repeat myself again. Don't do anything self-destructive. It's so sad how many times I read assessments, alcohol and drugs and alcohol and drugs together. History of drugs, history of alcohol, history of both. It's self-destructive. Don't do it to yourself. Eat well, and of course, reduce your stress. Duh. Again, I'm a terrible role model at this, and I suck at this. I have way too much stress in my life, and sometimes I actually have to go like slow down, chill out, and get my act together and learn how to focus. Because sometimes as you get older, it's harder to maintain that level of concentration. I'm not going to lie. So what I could do at 27, 37, 47, cannot do at 57. I got to learn how to put the brakes on more. And if I don't, it's going to kill me. I mean, it's just reality. Here's another point also. When should you seek? Anyone who wants to talk right now, the lines are open. CS, you want to throw any more questions out there? You're more than welcome to do so. You're first in queue. When to seek professional therapy for trauma? All right. Recovering from trauma takes time. Give yourself the time to respect that. And everyone heals at their own pace. I hear this all the time. Like, he took 2 months. He got back from Iraq, and now he's working. He left the service. He was in the Corps for 8 years. Stupid. Don't listen to that. You heal at your own level. So many factors go into that. It's not one size fits all. It's, you don't say everyone wears the same pair of shoes, size 10. You all have different sizes for a reason. Same thing with trauma. Okay. Here's the thing, though. If it's been a couple of months and you're not getting better, here's when you should be seeking therapy. Number one, You're having trouble functioning at home or at work. You're suffering from severe fear, anxiety with depression, the big three. You can't form close, satisfying relationships. That's a biggie. When you're not able to relate to other people, you kind of isolate. I've seen that from the musicians that I've covered, where they tend to be loners. It's kind of odd. Like they have all these adoring fans. They'll often show clips of them in concerts where everyone's going like, like this. And I just get the sense they go to their dressing room, and after their leeches and parasites taken for the money and drugs that they have, and they have to go home, they don't know what to go home to. And they just seem so disjointed. So if you can't have a close, satisfying relationship with somebody, that's a problem. Experiencing terrifying memories, nightmares, or flashbacks. If that's reoccurring, the car accident, the battle, you saw an act of violence committed on your street. That's serious stuff. You saw your father get popped by your mom, or vice versa. That's a memory. That's a bad flashback. That happens. Avoiding more and more anything that reminds you of the trauma. Classic example is a car accident. I won't get into the car. Another classic example is I won't walk down this block. Another classic example is I can't taste that food. It reminds me of it. Where I can't watch a certain TV show. That was the night something happened. So that's a biggie. So when you have that, be careful. Emotionally numb and disconnected. I've been numb only from like sheer exhaustion. But when you don't care anymore, like you're not focused. Like it's like your wife saying to you, "I'm pregnant." All right, you should be happy over something like that. Your kid says to you, "I made varsity, Dad. I made the cut." All right, good for you. Well, your girlfriend says to you, "I want to snuggle with you in bed tonight. I'm really feeling close. I finally got some time off from work. I want to be with you. Let's watch a movie and just, be cuddle and stuff." I'm just so tired. I just don't feel like doing anything. That's bad. You're not changing your clothes. You're disconnected. Not good. And of course, the biggie, anything to do with alcohol or drugs. So you get it. And sometimes with these articles, they become repetitive, and I hate to do that. So if anyone has any questions right now, now's the time to ask questions. The lines are open. And CS, you still got the floor. Okay, I want to share something else. I saw another article that I liked. It's called "What is Trauma?" And the woman that wrote it was Odella Graybill. She's a PhD, and she had some things I thought I wanted to share with you, understand better for those who don't understand what trauma is. Question we get a lot is, how do you get help? How do you get focused to know what's first going on? She says a thing called psychoeducation. What does that term really mean? It means to learn what it is you have. That's the first step. So many times I work for different agencies, people will ask questions even about their insurance. They have no clue how their insurance works. It's not the same thing as going to a regular doctor. Mental health is in a completely different category. And, what does my insurance cover? What does it not cover? How much is my copay? How many sessions am I allowed? How does the process work? Can I come in tomorrow? Do you take children? Do you have someone on staff that speaks Spanish? I mean, there's so much factors that you got to learn. But even more than that is, what is my disorder? What am I suffering from? It's amazing how many times I had to break things down for people to explain what PTSD is. What is trauma? What is depression? How it's all connected? How weight loss is a factor? How stress, how biological factors play a role, genetic factors, hereditary. What? Oh my God. I never realized this. And you have to spend time explaining things to people. That's what psychoeducation is, to teach people what to be aware of. Okay, so it's education, information about mental health. Now, why is this so important to understand? It's because survivors of trauma need information more than most groups anyway, because you're so numb, you're so disconnected, you're so not sure of who yourself and where you are. You people, when I say you people that are suffering from trauma, need this information more than anybody. You need someone to break things down to you and make you understand. Here's what I always heard. You're not a freak. You're not a loser. You're not a gold brooker, meaning you don't really work. You're not lazy. You're not doing this to game the system. It's not because you're stupid, not because you have no ambition. You need someone to explain this to you so you can realize and say, you know what? I'm not crazy. I'm not a loser. I'm not a screwball. I'm a person that's been through a terrible thing, and how the injury of trauma affects them. That's why you're not sleeping. That's why you avoided going on 14th Street. That's why you stopped wearing that kind of suit, where you don't taste that kind of soup anymore because it reminds you of this, or you're afraid to go into a hospital. There's a reason. You don't just do things randomly. There's a factor behind them. Without this understanding, survivors sometimes feel that something is wrong with them. They need to be fixed. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be healed. That's the difference. You need to learn how to heal yourself. Psychoeducation enables survivors to recognize that they are not broken. They're experimenting a predictable set of symptoms. Predictable. You do something long enough, you start to see the factors, you start to see the signs. And I've had situations, God, hundreds of them, where people looked at me and said, I don't know if I can relate to this guy. I've heard this 100,000 times. Oh, he's a rabbi. He's not the right skin tone. He's a male. He can't relate to me. Once they feel comfortable, and they do, it comes out of them. They start to share. And they realize they're not different. I'm not treating them like somehow that they're tainted. And it comes out of them. And they don't have to be fixed. They need help on how to heal. And this is predictable. When I start explaining how things relate, how things go from generation to generation, how lifestyle, who they live with, who they subject themselves to, I get this. Oh, I never realized that. Oh my God. Now it makes so much sense why my grandmother, myself, and my daughter have all been molested. Now it makes sense. Once people feel comfortable, they tee off and they start sharing stuff. And I've had this happen to me, God, hundreds of times, thousands of times, because I come in there being myself, not being somebody else, relatable, understandable, listening, and giving information that's actually useful and not stupid where, apply it, you'll get better, you'll feel. No, you don't say that. You got to go in there and dig, and it gets hard, but that's the growth. Okay. These symptoms they're difficult to live with. Of course they are. Who wants to go through trauma? It's horrible. I've had enough trauma-filled situations in my life for 3 lifetimes, and believe me, it takes a toll on you. But here's the thing. But they evolve, and they're easier to manage when they're understood in this light. Once things come out of the darkness into the light, and you start to see things, you gain power and mastery over the trauma, and you start to feel better about yourself. Everybody, again, the chat room is open. See if you got any questions, fire away. Anyone who wants to leave a question right now, I'm sure you're all enthralled by my talk. But if you want to ask anything, now's the time to ask. Okay, here we go. There's a factor now that they're talking about more and more, which makes sense as well. Why do some kids from like the inner city make it, others don't? Why do some people who are sexually abused able to carve out a normal life for themselves, why others don't? It's called resilience, the resiliency factor. Okay, it's a set of individual responses that enable survival in the face of adversity. Fine. Now, people often say, like, what makes somebody special more than, how can I be resilient like Bruce? Or how did he do it and I couldn't do it? Let me tell you something off the bat. Any one of you that have been through trauma, and I'm talking about real trauma, physical, sexual, emotional, all right? You had a dysfunctional childhood. You had really bad parenting. You were exposed to a violent background. You've seen violence, you've seen murder, you've seen death. You dealt with poverty. That automatically makes you resilient, that you're still here. The key factor is not to do anything that's going to be self-destructive, like, I survived, let me do a ton of coke now to forget. That's not the answer. I survived a hellish childhood. Now I have a carved out life as a middle-class person. I'm going to become an alcoholic not to remember. Not good. That's not resiliency. But if you have climbed up and you're still alive, you're still thinking, you're still trying to push forward, you are resilient. That means you have survival factors. So if you say to me, Bruce, I smoke weed to help me not think about what happened to me, help calm me down, I'm not against that if it's going to help you. I want to understand why you're taking it, though, so we can work forward with that. I'd rather you do weed, so to speak, than doing crank or meth. So everything is intolerance, and I understand where you're coming from, but it's here to work with you. You're a survivor. Don't throw away what you've accomplished. Okay. Now, post-traumatic growth, that's a big one. PTG is a meaning-making process following trauma. Like you got to go forward from the trauma. I don't want people to be victims their whole life and not be able to move forward. I want you to move as much as possible to go forward so you can become successful and you can get what you need out of life, okay? Some survivors come to terms with their experiences through a process of meaning making that typically includes, okay, and she had three things: action, reflection, and contemplation. Action, reflection, contemplation. What is action? Making a conscious choice to get help. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to go online. I'm going to ask for a referral. I don't want to be a victim the rest of my life. I want to have one day a chance to have a meaningful relationship with a man or with a woman. I want to have I want to have children. I want to know how to be an effective parent, not what the crap I came from with my cuckoo family. I want to move on. I don't want to be a loner in my house and just stare at TV or the internet. I want to have meaningful relationships. But that's what action is making that first step. For many people, it's very, very difficult. I had a problem with that when I was younger. As I got older and got more confidence in myself, I began to realize how I could take my own steps for survival. In other words, you're your best consumer. You know yourself better than anybody. Okay, reflection. Finding meaning in what happened to me. What am I doing about it, and then valuing things that have resulted in my life from having to cope with trauma. Okay, so I grew up in a dysfunctional house. My dad was abusive to my mom, my sister, and me. I was poor. Oh God, I realized now how poor I really were. Okay, what did I learn from that? What coping skills did I come up with? Am I more understanding of other people? I think to a certain extent I am. I'm not saying I'm happy I had trauma. Would have preferred not to have had it. But I understand myself better now, and I understand myself in a better way and how to cope with other people and make them feel that they can relate to me and I can relate to others in a more sensitive and a more empathetic way. I feel other people's pain and I see things quicker than maybe most people because of what I've been through. Again, guys, the floor is open. Any questions you have, feel free to shoot them in. Okay, now the other piece is going to be contemplation. How to incorporate the meaning that I have in my life that I've gained in my daily and future actions. What have I learned to be better? I didn't grow up around good parenting. My dad was not a good role model, but how do I relate to my own children differently? I had a situation yesterday. I got some news about one of my kids. Initially, I was really, really ticked off about it. I was really, really peeved. Now, 10 years ago, I would have done something probably idiotic and stupid and immature, lose my marbles, scream, yell, be confrontational. You know what? It doesn't help. Now, I'm a little bit smarter now. So what did I do? I stayed at work a little bit longer. I had to go see somebody. I came back. I went shopping. I got some food for myself and for my family. I went to 2 different grocery stores and I cooled down. I didn't come home with guns blazing like the cavalry. How dare you? You told me I want this. What's wrong with you? I'm so sick of you. I hate you. No. Came home calm. I talked to my kids individually. I talked to my wife, and I got, not want to say closure, but I got some consensus of what's going on. And I'm learning to keep the lines of communication open between my kids and myself, and even with my wife, who often drives me crazy, to just not to get everything to be confrontational. We'll go to bed pissed off, go to bed angry, or have my kids look at me like, you know what, talking to dad is like, why would I want to talk to him for? He's a jerk. He loses it. He gets angry. He's not someone you can relate to. I don't want that anymore. I got to be more strategic. That's the contemplation. My dad screaming, yelling, violent, cursing. What I get out of it? I got a hair trigger temper and I had a violent streak in me. That's how I learned to handle things. Great. Or hit your wife. Great. Or say something sarcastic and humiliate somebody. What did that accomplish? Nothing. I learned how to be more reflective. And now as I'm getting older, understand contemplation. What have I learned from my mistakes around me to be a better person, better father, better husband, better worker? Okay, now there are aspects. This is a biggie too. There's a thing called self-sustainability, meaning basically it's this: learn to take care of yourself. That's it. I mean, there's all these fancy terms for it, but basically it means this. If you need to take a warm bath with some bath salts and some body wash, whatever, and you just want to soak for an hour and that's your time to unwind, then do it. You don't have to apologize to anybody. You don't have to put on airs or pretend, particularly if you're dealing with, serious trauma. You don't, if people really know you, they know you, they respect you. They'll understand you. They'll understand if you're saying, I need to take a nap, or I'm not focused, or I can't do this what I used to do. I can only do this maybe for half the time. That includes if you have serious medical issues as well. The true friends that you have, the true people that care about you will understand that. So there's a thing called immediate gratification. If you, let's say you go into a 7-Eleven and you haven't, you're very, very strict on your diet, but you had a lot of trauma, and you see something like, hey, I want to get myself that. I mean, I'm bad at this because 7-Eleven, man, you got some good things to eat. So they got these like cakes and a buck. I'm down. I could eat like 5 of them, and strawberry shortcake, man, it's just out of this world. You can have one. It's okay. Doesn't mean, you're a failure. If for a buck, you felt good about yourself, you'll walk it off, blah, blah, blah. Do it. If taking a bath, taking a walk, reading a book, whatever it is that gives you some pleasure, do it. Second question. Guy named Manos. Hey, helpful and great as always, man. Thank you for that accolade. Much appreciation. But if you think like, going to a movie, whatever it is, people they also they get into it too deeply. If it gives you pleasure, do it. Again, I'm not good at this. For a lot of reasons. A lot of them are valid, but I don't take care of myself the way I should. And and it's hurting me. But if you can get your time off, it's very precious, because if you're always on the red, always in the red, you're going to be dead. It's not worth it. You got to get time off for yourself. Okay. Keep routines. This is a biggie. Whenever I've learned this now from so many assessments, I learned to say is like, when do you go to sleep? Oh, I sleep all night. I'm up all day. Wait, sorry, backwards. I'm up all night. I sleep all day. Okay, I call it the vampire hours. There's a problem because most of the world does it the opposite. You go to bed at night. You're up during the day. What's your hygiene like? Well, I kind of stay in my house, a lot of PJs a lot, where I don't really shave. I don't really brush my teeth. Bad. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. Not good. You got to have a routine. Get in your car, go to work, shave, woman, put on makeup. You got to have a routine. You got to have a routine with sleep. All that stuff's important. Sleep, diet. Like, you can have one cake, one pastry, but you can't have 12. My kid would be in, he worked for a couple of weeks at McDonald's, and he said something to me, you don't realize it, what it's like working through the drive-through. And he would see people coming, not driving through, they didn't have the store open, and people would say things like, clearly obese, and they would order like 8 large sets of fries. And my kid would be thinking like, are you having a party in your house? The guy was going to finish 8 things of fries. Like, it's not healthy. You got to think differently and don't do things that are self-destructive. Okay. Reflection. Because trauma survivors are more vulnerable than others to the stresses of daily living, you got to constantly check how you're feeling. If you know coming up there's an anniversary of the day that your wife died and you're still dealing with the trauma of that, don't go to work that day. Take off if you can. Only work half a day. Make time to go to the gravesite. Bring flowers. If you lost a child, if your parents were dead, if someone who you love was killed in an accident, take time to reflect. It's okay. Stay at home. Contemplate. Take a walk. Remember them in a positive way. Things that they said that inspired you. Look at their picture. It's okay to grieve. And if you have to click things around, that's okay. This COVID thing is going to reshape people's impressions of themselves for the next 50 years. So how are you going to cope from this? Because things are going to change week to week. Last month I was working. Now I'm told I'm being laid off. My best friend now has the virus. He's now in the hospital. He's fighting for his life. This one though went in. He was spent 10 days at home. Now he's okay. I mean, there's so many different, like it's like a pinball when you're playing a real pinball and you see the ball flashing all over the place. Things are going to change rapidly, and you got to be able to just change on the fly for your own sake and not go cuckoo. One thing I've learned about this virus is that I've heard so many crazy things said initially about it, and still today, like people thought they knew, they didn't know. You got to be flexible though and say things are going to change with this virus. For 50, long after I'm gone, people will still be dealing with the effects of this virus. How do you cope from it? Okay, that's the reflection part. Finally, last thing I want to share on this article is that trauma therapy objectives. She said there's 3 things, and I kind of like what she said. I want to share them. Goes like this. Symptoms mitigation. Reduce the post-trauma stress symptoms and increase your capacity to feel safe. That's huge. If you don't feel safe in your daily life, you're not going to grow. You're not going to get back to where you were. So the first thing is you got to learn to feel safe. And what steps do you need to do that to feel safe? It might just be something as getting an animal to be there as a guard dog, another companion in the home if you live by yourself. So what can you do differently that's going to help you feel safe? Mitigation. You don't want to have those symptoms crashing into your coconut night after night. Expand your ability to endure the pain that was caused by the trauma and the aftermath. Can you handle things more on a 10% level? In other words, like you went swimming and you had a near drowning experience and you said, I'll never go back into the water unless it's my bathtub, or I'm taking a shower, or I'm in a kiddie pool. But that's kind of diminishing what you're getting out of life. Can you go to a beach and walk on the sand by the water? Can you go to a lake and only go in, say, up to your ankles? What can you do to get past the trauma that you experienced that you can move forward? I can't walk on the block. I saw my best friend get beaten up really badly, but I can drive through it. I don't want to not be able to do certain things because of what happened. Okay, expand your ability to endure the pain and increase your capacity. The last thing is to self-sustain and experience joy with yourself and others, to get back as much as possible into the swing of things and not be stuck. So I wanted to share that. I thought that was a good article. Again, we got a ton of people that want to ask questions. Now is the time to do so because the floor is open. Any questions you guys got, now's the time to ask. Anything you want to ask, I'm ready to listen to. Okay. Last article is this. Does talk therapy really work? All right. I get that asked a lot. The last probably 20, 30, maybe 30 years or 40 years, we've become inundated with medication. Everything is a pill. Now, I'm not knocking medication. I've seen it do tremendous things for people that truly were ill, generally with psychosis in general. People who suffer from schizophrenia, deep-rooted psychosis, trauma, bipolar. I'm not knocking it. There's been a lot of advances in medication. But at the same time, people will say to me, if I talk to you, am I going to get better? And I say to them, yes, you will. Not just because I'm great at what I do and I'm outstanding and blah, 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 blah. But if you're with the right person in the right setting, in the right mood, you will grow. I've seen people that came in, angry, pissed off, bitter. There's no way this is going to work. I was forced to come here. You suck. I can't relate to you. You're too old. You're too young. You're too fat. You're too skinny. You're not the right color. You're not the right ethnic group. You're not the right, male, female. And guess what? They left there saying, this truly helped me. This truly helped me. I got so much off my chest now, I can actually sleep at night. I'm not binging on junk food. I'm actually talking to my family. I'm actually talking to my parents. I understand myself better. I have goals now. I have a drive. You gave me things to think about I never thought about before. You gave me insight that made this session special. I have confidence now. I like to call it mental health body armor. That now, when you're not even around me, you can handle yourself in the public area. And ironically, this is what they actually said as well. Because I always say to people, you're not going to have me forever. It's just not realistic. It's not feasible. But if you're in a situation when you're in that same thing happening to you, how do you avoid things getting worse? In a sense, in a lot of ways, these live streams are exactly that, because we're finding people telling us, I watch your live stream, I watch your video on a certain artist over and over and over again. And at first I was, not that I was like surprised, we're like, wow, thank you. That's not the issue. What I realized was that people have said enough times in these not interviews, in these comments to us, this has become my therapy. This has become how I use therapy now. My parents didn't understand it. I can't get to it. It's too expensive. But I watch your stuff, Bruce, on certain artists or about some of the live streams that you talk about, and I've become much more confident where I understand things about myself better by what you talk about. It's like going to therapy. We hear this a lot. It's like going to therapy. It's like being in therapy. It's like I was in therapy. Now I'm actually getting something out of therapy. So it's a different way of looking at things, and talk therapy does work. Okay. So this came from an LCSW, licensed clinical social worker. Her name is F. Diane Barth. I'm not sure what the F stands for, but she says one researcher looks at the data, and this came from Psychology Today. So, and it was posted a while ago, but it's still interesting in the perspective. It goes like this. They looked at something from the University of Colorado, and something that those of us have practiced. Insight therapy, sometimes also called talk therapy, have known for a long time. Psychodynamic psychotherapy works. It works because it helps clients find solutions, not only to specific symptoms, but also difficulties at work, in their social lives, and with their self-esteem. Wow. Well, we've known about that forever from what we do here. And I know that. And that's the huge one, is that the self-esteem part, that you talk to somebody who's not necessarily your family, may not look like you, may not, dress like you, may not think like you on the surface, but has an insight that you don't have about yourself that gives you something to take home with you, and gives you not just about your problem that you're dealing with, about, say, a bad marriage or a problem child or self-confidence issues or drug and alcohol problems, but like, man, I didn't just get this issue resolved. I got everything else resolved as well. That's what it does. That's what talk therapy does for you. And this person also, this associate professor, said people who receive psychodynamic therapy actually continue to improve after therapy ends, presumably because the understanding they gain is global. Yeah, it's true. The understanding that they gain is global. Yeah, global. Big. When I work with interns, I always say to them, it's not just about learning how to be, quote, quote, a clinical social worker. I give them newspaper articles. I'm only going to still use a newspaper, but I give them newspaper articles, things off the internet, things from a magazine. Well, again, I'm still one of the few that still reads magazines, but I give them stuff to help them go global, understand things differently, and understand different perspectives. I've had people say to me about the yarmulke that I wear. I'm buying this thing. I was on Etsy, a yarmulke from Uganda, made by women who are native, I guess, Ugandians. And the proceeds of what they sell is given to them through microloans, help them start their own businesses. And the yarmulke represents like Ugandan, like cloth, the clothes they wear, and the colors of them with these vibrant African colors. And I had to laugh because it's like, you're not just doing something for now, you're building somebody up later. That's the whole purpose of it. And that's the thing about wearing it. It gives me a chance to see that I'm not just connected today to the Punisher, but also I'm going to be connected to some women who are trying to get out of poverty and have a life of their own. That's what I want people to kind of understand. That's what I want people to relate to. Like, it's not just about things I do here. It's what I do globally. My $12 yarmulke could empower somebody to get enough of a loan, enough of money to put down a cloth business and go from yarmulkes to T-shirts to blue jeans, whatever the clothing aspect of it is. But that's how it starts. And I give my people stuff to think about. Even my agent / producer / everything, I give him stuff. I'll say, hey, check this out. Read this article. This is kind of interesting. I think this might be helpful to you. The thing about when I start off the the live stream talking about, the COVID and the cutbacks of insurance, I said, he needs to see this. And he said to me, shockingly, can you bring me the article? Yeah, because I want him to grow, because him growing directly affects me, but it also indirectly affects him and how he looks at things. So when he's asked a question, he's able to say things like, well, man, Bruce showed me that stuff already. I know that stuff already. I got it. That's what I'm looking. I'm looking always to spread knowledge, not just about like, how you doing today? How's everything? You doing okay? You doing all right? I mean, I care about that to a point, but I'm more interested in what are you taking with me when you're on the outside? I might see you for an hour, 2 hours a week, but it's more than that. It's what are you going to gain from this outside of here? That's what's going to tell me if you really gained from listening to me. Okay. So another thing is that with the help of therapy, we also learn how to continue to learn more about ourselves, even when we're no longer seeing the therapist. Yeah. I've had people come to me with issues they started off with I'm having problems in my marriage, I'm having problems with substance abuse. And then I start talking to them. They realize the issues go back to childhood. We get that resolved. And they start saying things to me like, I'd really like to improve my potential at work. Here's how you do it. I really want to kind of improve how I handle myself going for an interview. Here's how you do it. I don't just, I'll say to somebody, bring in your resume. Let me see your resume. Oh man, this is going to get you killed. This resume sucks. Doesn't say anything about you. Oh, and I get this all the time. No one has ever talked to me like this. No one has ever shared anything the way you just shared it with me. And I'm like, yeah, truth. When I take people walking, I hate being in an office. I take them walking. I'm like, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this condition of the street. Look at the houses that you live around. Look at the cars. Look at the noise. What do you see around you? What's going on? Even though people say things like, I don't see, after a while, they do start to see. I want them to think differently. And that's the strength that I bring to the table. Is it's not just about therapy, but I'm here to change your life. Yeah, because what I tell people all the time is this. You may not want to come back after the assessment, but you can never say again, you don't know why you have problems. Now you know. You got to get the confidence to trust me and to go forward and kind of like I said before, dive into deep water. And maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe that's too scary for you. It's understandable. No rip. You're not a loser. But you can never say again, you don't know what your problems are. That's what it comes down to. I'll give an example. Many years ago, this was still in an infancy kind of concept for me, making these videos. I was talking to a woman, and again, different ethnicity, different background, completely different education, completely different from me. And long story short, there was some kids, and they were making me crazy, making her. I said, let me come to your house and I can finish up the stuff. And I went to her place, and her boyfriend said to her in front of me, he said, tell him, because I said, I don't think I can really do you guys. I'm just so busy. I'm thinking about this project, making videos. And she said, when I explained the concept to both of them, she said to me, I'd love to buy them. Because now, if you're not around, I can look at them. And I won't feel negative about myself, about my issues or whatever. And the boyfriend even said to me, I'd buy one. Because now I understand how to work with my wife better. Now I understand what she's going through. It'll help me work with her because I love her. It was like, boom, for me. It was like, I'm on the right track. All of this is a culmination, which I'll talk about next week, of taking an idea, looking at a perspective, and going forth with it. These live streams, we're up almost at 120. I mean, to think where I thought about this, and now I'm actually putting into practice with my agent / producer again, Mr. Everything. That's all where it started from. Like there's a better way to get information out there. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks when we go forward, is that I want to give you a chance to feel like when you're listening to me and you've paid for it, it's like I'm talking to you, that you're getting something that you can take with you and wherever you are, download it. You're taking a train to work, you're in your car, you're taking a walk, and now you could put those earbuds in your ears and you can listen. And you can say things like, I'm going to walk into a situation that normally I screw up in. Normally I blow it up and I do something stupid. I say something stupid. I run for the alcohol. I say asinine things. I make stupid comments. And everyone's looking at me like, who invited this jerk? And I compensate by getting loud and obnoxious, where I get nervous and I hide in the corner. Don't have to anymore, because now you got Brucey in your pocket, so to speak. And if you have questions, you can follow up with them. This is where it's all going. And, I got to say this. I got to really thank my, I'm simply say agent. He's a great producer. He's really more of an agent. He understood that. He got that. Because I told this art and told this concept to like dozens of people, and they didn't really understand where I was coming from, but he did, and he saw the potential. And that's where we're going with this. That it's not just about having me for 1 hour a week on a live stream. It's about having me for the rest of your life. And you get that content over and over and over again because it's fresh, it's honest, and it's real. And I've had people walk out that came in like this, like literally angry, bitter, frustrated, and they left. And even if they left pissed off, they said, now I understand what I got to do. Like, now I get it. Like, I stopped pretending that the marriage is going to be saved, where someone's going to care about my kid, where the job's going to get better. Like, they got it. I'm not going to put myself in a situation to be embarrassed anymore. I'm not going to have terrible sexual relationships where there's no empathy, where there's no real love. I'm no longer going to devalue myself. And that's hard to do, but they start talking that way. So we got a question here. CS, thank you. He threw down, that's why I watch your videos. They make me feel so much happier. I wish I could meet with you and just have a talk about life. It's incredible how you break down problems. It's so spot on. Another comment right there. I hope you get recognized by millions. My opinion, we need more Bruces in this world. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure you saved many lives. Thank you for everything. Well, as I always like to say, legend in my own mind. That's always the first step. And let me say this we've had some people, let me share this about people wanting to meet me in quote, quote, real time or in real life. I've had people say to me that we're in the Vegas area. They would wrote me emails. I'd like to get with you, Bruce. I'd like to meet you. The answer is you can. I've told the people in Vegas, I said, if you ever want to meet with me, no problem. I'm not going to make you meet me up outside. I think it's like 193 out there today. So July and August is not a good time. But in general, when it gets to be semi-normal with the heat here, I will be more than happy to meet with you. Not a problem. Just to talk, just to kind of share things. I don't want to say one bottle of water, probably like a case of water. But love to meet you. Love to talk to you. I'm not really like a Starbucks kind of guy. That's not really my thing. But if it makes you more comfortable, and also we're out of the heat, and we're willing to wear a mask, not a problem. I got no problem meeting people. You want to meet with me? I'm accessible. That's it. There's no charge. There's no like, I sign an autograph for $400 and you take a selfie with me and then you're on your way. I'm not that level of celebrity. I probably never will be, and I would never want to be. But if you want to meet with me and hang out with me, do it. No problem. We get a drink together, stop off at 7-Eleven, go through McDonald's. I heard what goes on inside there, but McDonald's drive-through, no problem. I'll meet you. Not a problem. CS, where do you live, man? I'm just kind of curious. Just found out. I live in the UK. Damn, I did not. We have a strong contingent of UK people. Where in the UK do you live? I'm just curious. But I can always look back on these videos that reflect on life. Absolutely. That's the whole point. That's really the whole point of leaving behind a legacy of information. You can take this with you, CS. And also another question, CS, if you're willing to answer this, is how old are you? I'm just kind of curious. Because I'm sure you're younger than me. But the point is, I want you to think about taking this kind of information, taking with you all the way to grow and be successful. I live down south or down away from London. Okay. I'm just curious if you're willing to share, what is your age? But that's my point. So when they say things like, does talk therapy work? Yeah, it does. Of course it does. In the hands of the right people. And let me kind of give this a life lesson too. In any situation that you're going to find yourself in as you grow up, 18. Yep. Man, you are in the sweet spot, CS, by the way. Jeff left college and now going into adult life, very anxious but excited. You'll be a winner, man. Don't even worry about it. But let me just say something to you, just for a life lesson for all of you listening. Anything I've done in my life, whether it's A to Z, I've learned to go to the right people. Because people in any profession, in any occupation, there's those that know and those that don't know. Go find out those that know. That's it. Mental health is a very subjective, it's a massive field. Hundreds of billions of dollars in this country alone is spent on mental health. Around the world, got to be over $1 trillion. And a lot of it is garbage. A lot of it is just false nonsense that gets you manipulated, that gets you to do things that are not right for you. Find the best people that are out there and follow them like close to the belt. I put myself in that category. That's why I have the confidence to do these videos. I feel I'm in the top 1%. I'm the 1/10 of the 1%, to be frank. I bring it to the table. I make it real and I'm honest. So if you want to follow somebody right here, baby, I'm the guy. But if you find someone else, great. But make sure they know what they're talking about, that they bring it to the table, and they're going to help you. And that's in anything that you're going to do in life. Find a person that's going to give you what you need, and don't be afraid to go through more than one person. Never get stuck with like, I know everything, I'm smarter than you, I'm older than you. Age has nothing to do with it. Certain people have it, knowledge and information that can give it to you in the right way. And a lot of people don't, but they'll give you the impression that they do, and you waste time and you don't go forward in life. Find the winners and stick with them. Okay, so with the help of therapy, we also learn how to continue learning more about ourselves, even when we're no longer seeing the therapist. That's our goal. This is where this is all going. We want to just not just do the live streams, it's to take the live streams and take them with you and have like I look at it like Batman with his tool belt. When I do trainings for law enforcement, correctional officers, whatever, I always tell them, I'm not looking for you guys to be clinical social workers. That's not realistic. But I want you to have another thing in your tool belt like Batman does. When he always whips out that tool belt, he can do this, he can do that, he can do this and that. That's what this is about, is getting that knowledge so that when you're in a situation at work, at home, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, okay, it's going to be stressful. Difficult situation when you were a child. Now you're seeing these people as an adult. That you handle it in a proper way and you don't screw yourself up. That's the whole point of these classes, in a sense. It's like a tutorial in how to be successful in life. And if you follow what I say to you, even if you screw up, you can screw up, because now you can go back in reverse and amend the damages that you did and learn out how to do them again and again and again, and how truly to be successful in life. What's interesting to me is that you hear a lot about the people who are protesting, or people in general, like saying, like, you know what, because the way things are, I can't get ahead in life. Like, I can't push myself. I can't go further. You know what? You listen to me. I don't care what you look like. You can look like Barney. You know, you can be from outer space. You can be 7'3" and 450 pounds and have horrible body odor from like planet, Neptune. I will teach you the skills on how to be successful in life, not just in home with your family, but in work and social situations, and how you can separate yourself from everybody else. There's a great term in that they call it separation in football. Like, can you separate from the defensive player that's trying to guard you? And the great ones just uncannily can. It's amazing. Wide receivers, they'll say, does he separate? Does he separate? And you know what? I'll teach you how to separate yourself from everybody around you, that you'll excel, even if everyone is against you for your religion, your race, the color of your skin, what you look like. Listen to me, apply the lessons, and you'll go forward. You may go forward in a different direction, but you will go forward. Even these videos, that we make, people, I stopped even telling people what I do because they don't get it. All the therapists I deal with, all from different levels, from psychiatrists on down to like mental health counselor to psych tech, they can't fathom what we're doing because it's so different, so original, so real, and so honest. And that's my point. This is the kind of stuff that's like dynamite, that you apply it to yourself, you follow it. Anything that you're dealing with in your life will begin to become vastly improved. Because and here's the last thing I want to share about that piece is I've made so many mistakes. You don't have to. I wish I would have had a Bruce in my life when I was in high school. I would not have done the dumb things that I did that really put me back 15, 20 years. I learned it only by what they call a school of hard knocks. That's not fun, and you don't have to. I want to teach those that are listening how to apply these lessons and go forward in a way that no matter where you're from, you will see yourself be a success. That's it. Because I didn't get any of this growing up. And this is basically a tutorial on how to be a success in life. So that's what talk therapy does have value and does work. And last thing about something I saw today, and I want to share that. Anyone has any questions? CS, you ran the floor today. Manos, any questions from you? Anyone else listening, feel free to, pipe in. I saw a thing about there's a program now for vets where these are guys that came back with PTSD, trauma. So they've had all these programs for veterans, like to go biking, to go rock climbing, to, do different things, go hiking if they can. And, to give them back a sense of self-esteem and accomplishment and to work through the trauma that they're dealing with. I saw something that they said this program now is they take veterans, they make them divers, and they help them to build and replenish coral reefs. And you see them underwater going like this to each other, like mission completed. We put down 10 rows of new coral to help what's being damaged on a daily basis. So yeah, I get the biking, I get the canoeing, I get the kayaking. But when you're a soldier, your mission is to accomplish a goal. That's what you're taught to do. And I was interested in how I saw this. I'm going to look this up when I get a chance. They're now replenishing or rebuilding or even building coral reefs to help biodiversity in our oceans. Whoever came up with that idea, kudos to him. That's great. I'm sharing that with you guys because I saw that and I thought it was interesting to me. It's interesting to our listeners. Now, not just to do things randomly, but what is the goal? What is the purpose? What's this going to lead to? And even lead to a career, quite frankly, because biodiversity and saving the planet and working on things differently is going to become a growing industry, particularly with this virus. How do you do things now in the future? So it's all going to change. It's all going to become very, very different. But now they have a mission. We got to get it done at a certain time and make it happen. And that's something I want to kind of clarify also. What I bring to the table is I don't want you to see me forever. I don't. I want you to get the confidence to say to me, Bruce, I'm ready. I'm ready to, jump out of the plane. I'm ready to go, parachuting. I got it. I got it emotionally. I can handle myself. And you know what I say? Well, you can't shake hands anymore, but, fist bump, whatever, elbow kind of thing. Good. That's the plan. I want you to be healthy and resilient when you leave me, not to be with me for like 8. I've had some people that I've had with me for a long time. That's because it's different animal, different trauma, just different perspective. But the average person, I want you to take these videos, take these live streams and say, you know what? I want to learn. I got what I needed. I'm ready to go on to, a mission. Training camp is over. Practice is over. I got to apply this in real life. I can get a girlfriend. I can get a job that I like. I can learn how to save money. I can learn how to bolster myself. I can learn how to develop self-confidence. I can learn how to have self-esteem and self-respect. I can learn how to talk differently to my friends and neighbors and how people regard me. I can learn to carry myself with pride. And even if I go through adversity, like so many billions of people are right now with this COVID, it's going to come to an end. Everything does. Life moves on. It will come to an end. But I want to show you how to be prepared when things do get back to normal, and they will. Where do you go forward? I want to be the voice of calm for people to realize you can make it happen. All right. Anyone has any questions? CS, you want to throw anything down? And guess what? Stay in touch with us. I didn't realize you're from the UK. 18, you're a young man. You got your whole life ahead of you. Congrats, congrats, congrats. I expect only big things out of you. If it doesn't happen, I will be disappointed in you because you've shown me you have what it takes. Manos, thank you for throwing in your comment. CS, he never fails. Take care, Bruce. Thank you once again. I'll send you that email soon. Yeah, do me a favor. I got it. I did get it. I'm not saying I never got it, but send it to me again. I want to really be focused. I'm going to look for it, but I prefer you send it to me again. Thank you. And next Thursday, 5:30, I guess U.S. time. Sorry, Charles. Sorry, not U.K. time. Sorry, CS. But it's going to be about me and talking about how I came to my personality, my perspective, and what did I learn from this. I'm going to share a lot of things. Some of it's going to be ugly. At the same time, next week's also going to be about opening up a new portal because we're going to start talking about some things with you guys that we need to address. Nothing, no one's done anything wrong, blah, blah, blah. But we need to go into certain categories of mental health that are painful to discuss, that are hard, that are hurtful, that you want to bury. But if we don't start talking about those topics, you're not going to make the leaps that you need to do. We got to get that foundation worked on what you didn't get and learn how to make you whole so you're no longer walking around shattered and feeling that you didn't get what you needed. Now we want to start talking about those kind of topics. I'm going to break that down even more next week, but that's where we're going to start going into things because we realize, about the trauma, you get the bipolar, the depression, the drug and alcohol abuse. That's fine. Now I need to talk about why you do that to yourself in the first place. And that means looking at things on a sexual, emotional, and behavioral level, in that sense. And that's what we're going to talk about, the real kind of trauma. So, anyone else with any last questions? Oh, we got one right here. We got a couple here. It's 3 a.m. for me. Damn, it's worth it, though. CS, man, thank you. I can't thank you enough. If I ever get a chance to go to London or England in general, I'd like to go there. It's a beautiful country. I've never been there. I will go there, and I want to look you up, and I will take you out for an English meal. I want to have some fish and chips, kosher, of course, but I'm going to look you up, and we're going to spend some time together. I want to get to know you. I'm very impressed by you. I'm impressed with your willingness your candor and your willingness to follow through on things. And to be up at 3 a.m., you are, what can I say? I'm impressed by you. I'm in awe of you. So thank you so much. David May, tips on someone trying to become a therapist. Here's the thing I want you to realize. Becoming a therapist, go to school. Finish high school, obviously, go on to college. The major is not that big a deal, but you got to take exams to get into social work school. I would say if you want to do any kind of therapy, unless you want to go into a PhD program, which is extremely difficult. Most people are now doing what's called a PSYD program, but you got to go to school. It's competitive to get into social work school. You got to take it's called a GRE. You got to score high enough. So make excellent grades in college, do very well on your GREs, I believe it's called still, and that will get you into grad school. That's it. But if you want to become a good therapist, have as many experiences as possible. That's what I can only stress that as much. It's important to have the academic knowledge. I get that. But experiences will help you grow and learn how to work with people from different angles. Clinical psych, only if it's going to lead to you getting insurance reimbursement, David. That's what I want to say to you. So the PhD is great, but clinical psych is a very broad term. So if you have a doctorate, you're looking for a doctorate in clinical psychology, that's what you're looking for, then you will have a PhD. You'll have a rewarding career. You could do therapy. You could work at a university. You could work for the VA. There's multiple possibilities with a government. With a clinical PhD, yes, there's a lot of things that can happen for it. Hook us up with some more comments. We'll go from there. All right. Give last second. Anyone last questions? Feel free to shoot them out. If not, we're going to call it quits tonight. Thank you all again. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I wanted to help others because have been in darker spots. Hey, we need new people. We need new blood. We need people who have what it takes. Always, the pizza is big enough for more people. Trust me. The pizza can always be cut into more slices if you're good. If you suck, we got enough of those. Trust me. But if you got what it takes, my man, more the merrier. And I'd love to see you in the profession helping out people. Okay, and with that, I'm going to call it quits. Everybody, thank you. Bruce Morrison, LCSW, Sunridge, Nevada. Please click in next week. We'd love to hear from you. Take care.